Having black friends doesn't erase your racism. Voting for black politicians. No. Sleeping with someone of another race? Still racist. Whiteness isn't just calling someone
I want to kill this
slur.
kid.
It's the silent belief that whiteness is neutral.
Pause. Okay, so here's the thing. I thought all these years that the problem of white supremacy was that white supremacists believe they were supreme. This next one here. A viral video. So we have terrible people here in the States we all dislike, right? We can agree on this, find common ground. David Hogg, he's a wiener. Harry Sisson, he's just not the kind, he's the kind of guy who brings like a case of Zima to a party. You don't want him around.
In 2025.
Yes, they brought it back. So a viral video now, they have one of these guys in South Africa. This is a South African influencer and professional if Logan Paul was a thumb lookalike. His Pieter Kriel.
Pieter.
And I'm just going to play and pause this and fact check it because pretty much everything he says is incorrect. He had some harsh, woke, leftist, progressive, check your privilege words for the being genocided white South Afrikaans.
To the 50 Afrikaners who fled to the US, calling themselves refugees. You are not refugees. You are just a case study of white flight dressed up as martyrdom. You're not escaping.
Yeah, the thing is they are refugees because 50 to 60 white Afrikaners are killed every single year with their farms taken from them without compensation. So they're actual refugees. They're not just seeking a better economy. Also, I don't fully understand this because I thought your problem was with white supremacy, that they came there in colonialism, that they have those farms in the first place, but now it's white flight. What are they supposed to do? They come, you vilify them. They leave, you vilify them. They can't go anywhere else in Africa because it sucks. Let's continue.
Violence. You're escaping equality. South Africa didn't chase you away. You ran. Yes, South Africa is one of the most violent...
They ran from people literally chasing them away to kill them.
Yes.
Let's just keep that in context, Mr. Doug Funny. Continue.
Countries in the world. Yes, brutality exists. But let's be honest. Violence affects all communities, not just white farmers. Black, colored,
Pause.
Indian.
Well, no, hold on a second. It does affect all communities. Yes, black Africans are affected by other black Africans as well. So blacks are affected and whites are affected. There is an exception, white on white crime. And there's an exception, white on black crime. That's in the United States. That's largely in Africa. So you can say that all communities are affected by crime, sure, but who is inflicting the crime? I don't think you're going to like the way these statistics end up, Hotshot. Let's go.
And yes, white people are all targets of a national crime crisis. What we have is a breakdown in safety, not a white genocide. This is not ethnic cleansing, it's criminal collapse, and running to the US won't fix it. You are part of a 7% minority, but somehow still manages to control over 70% of the wealth. That is not persecution, that's privilege on a guilt trip.
Well, pause. Isn't the problem solving itself? If they're leaving, you're saying they're not refugees. So you're blaming them for white flight. So you're mad that they have accrued wealth because they know how to farm, but you're mad that they're leaving? What is a South African to do? Let's continue.
Be real, if we tried to relocate just half of the Afrikaans population, it would take decades, billions in logistics, and you'd still end up culturally homeless in a country that don't want your apartheid baggage. You're not brave.
Sure, if you mean other African countries, but they would still be poor. I agree with you on this point. There's really no place for anyone to go. You mean Burkina Faso? That's $882 is their GDP per capita. Mozambique is $623. What do you mean the Central African Republic, $496, their GDP per capita? There is no good place to go. I don't know if you're noticing a trend or some kind of a correlation. Let's continue.
You're not victims. You're scared of a world where you don't get to be in charge, and that makes the rest of the Afrikaans community cringe because you make us look weak. South Africa is broken, and it's our problem to solve. So if you don't have the spine to do so, stay gone.
Yeah. So maybe they could go to one of those poor poor African countries outside of South Africa. Or maybe you could they could go to Zimbabwe. You know, in 2000, they also took land from white farmers. So that's right. Over the next decade, farm revenue declined by $12 billion. GDP shrunk by nearly half. And they've basically had the worst conflict time in modern history.
Do you know what this is right here? This is a $10 trillion bill. So they had the land grab. And then in 2008, when the economy started going through hyperinflation and then it kept going, it went from, in 1999, before the land grab, 35 to 1 roughly, US dollar trading, to In 2015, around 35 quadrillion to 1.
I can't even count that high.
They couldn't print money fast enough. You're so good at farming and running an economy, and get rid of those people. Woo, get land.
I can't
Hey,
even
you
count
got
that
change for 10 trillion?
Yes.
People wouldn't take checks because by the time you got to the bank in an hour, it wasn't worth what they had written.
Sure.
It was insane.
The good news is that this Pieter, when he goes to the South African strip club, he makes it rain.
He does. $1 trillion notes.
It's hard to take a guy serious who's sitting in Africa with a winter coat on in his kitchen.
But by the way, also moving half of the Afrikaner population, it wouldn't take decades. It's about 1.3 million people.
No.
Over the last 4 years, we've had close to 20 million illegal aliens who've resettled in the United States of America, and most of them don't know how to farm.
Most?
And
grow certain crops, just not edible.
Yeah, well, they can fix a gutter.
Well, just in case you didn't think this guy, this South African Harry Sisson was dumb enough, here are some other comments that he makes on race. And I know you're going to get enraged, but you need to understand that these people are propped up by those on the left to create false spheres of influence.
Every white South African is racist.
Oh!
Every single one. Including you. Including me.
What do you
We're
think you
born
are,
into
man?
a racist country, raised by racist systems, taught by racist textbooks, and disciplined by racist norms. Unless you've been consciously deprogrammed, that requires pain, effort, and education. You are still operating from a racist framework.
Okay, let's hear
Having
this.
black friends doesn't erase your racism. Voting for black politicians. No. Sleeping with someone of another race? Ha!
Yeah, no.
Still racist. Whiteness isn't just
Come
calling
on.
I wanna
someone
kill this
slur.
kid.
It's the silent belief that whiteness is neutral.
Pause.
Everything else
Okay, so here's the thing. I thought all
kill
these
this.
years that the problem of white supremacy was that white supremacists believed they were supreme, believed they were superior to. Turns out now the problem is white neutrality. So hold on, let me make sure that I get this straight. It's a problem if white people happen to be better at farming, for example, in South Africa, or happen to be better, for example, at war. I don't know if you know this. You can't find a warlord throughout the African continent right now. So, and it's a problem if you're a supremacist. I would agree with that. But then it's a problem if you're neutral. So there's sit down, shut up, okay, but then silence is violence. There is no way to not be racist, and that's how someone like this justifies actual genocide. White flight is a problem. Gentrification is a problem. You want to farm? It's a problem. You want to go to another country? In Africa, that's a problem because they don't want you. This sounds a lot like a guy who is frankly advocating genocide and demanding that you shut up while he advocates it. I will say this. This man is racist, this man is hateful, and this man is dangerous.
What he also is naive, because if the shit went down, his throat would be cut first.
Oh, of course.
You understand?
Yes, absolutely.
He doesn't understand that.
But
He's the
I
one who
think
tells you,
TikTok-
if you cross the sidewalk when there's a bunch of young brothers coming, you're racist.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You'd last about 3 seconds in his work, taking his advice.
You mean when he leaves his kitchen with his parka?
Yeah, exactly. Where's my mittens? I'm going into the living room. Big dink.
Let's
What a
continue
big girl.
his continued video of, well, really, let's just call it what it is, racism.
else is different. I don't see color while bleaching your hair and contouring your face. You see color just fine. You just don't want to deal with what it means.
Pause.
The entire
Did he just make fun of bleaching hair and contouring face when he clearly threads his eyebrows and he gets himself some frosted tips? I think you're describing the man in the mirror, sir. Continue.
education system would collapse overnight if we taught the truth. Apartheid wasn't resolved, and whiteness is still centered. Your skin color isn't the problem. Your silence is. Your comfort is. Humanity expresses itself in shades, and racism denies that expression. South Africa, we're still living in the lie.
Right.
Your comfort is. Like he's saying it from a war zone.
I know.
Sitting in the kitchen, for Christ's sake, with a $40,000 cappuccino machine behind him.
Let's send him out as the diplomat with Coney. Let's see how that works.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the lesson here is sit down, take it, don't gentrify, don't move into an area. By the way, this applies to Americans too. He's just echoing the same rhetoric from the left here. That's gentrification, that's a problem. If you leave, it's white flight, that's a problem. If you speak up, it's a problem. You need to sit down and shut up. Silence is also violence. Supremacy is a problem. Neutrality is a problem. So unless you hate yourself for an immutable characteristic, your whiteness, then you are a racist. Oh, what is that again? What is that? Well, that's right. Hating someone, even yourself, for an immutable characteristic is, by definition, racism. But the counter argument, I hear it, is that everybody is racist, especially you, Gerald.
What?
Yeah. Pieter, however he pronounced it, Kriel, also tweeted this about President Trump. Because, they always have very strong opinions on American politics. He says, Trump says white South Africans are being killed, land confiscated, and they deserve refugee status. He says it's not because they're white. He said it's if they were black, too. Meanwhile, Sudan burns and Congo bleeds. Sure, let me ask you this. Who's in charge?
Yeah.
Who's in charge? Who's doing that? If someone's bleeding, who's doing all that stabbing? Who's doing all that burning? Let's just be honest about this. Is it because of melanin in the skin? No, but the idea that the entire continent of Africa, or by the way, this continent with Native Americans, that they were peaceful at any point before white people showed up is a lie. As a matter of fact, it can almost be proven through looking at the continent of Africa today, or looking at Native American reservations in the United States today.
Yeah.
How many landscapes that look like an episode of Cops do you need to be? It's all cops if you've been to a Native American reservation. So, hey, at what point? They never get it right. They never get it right. And if people want to leave because they've developed a marketable skill like farming, you condemn them for that too. Let me ask you this. I've made this, and it might have been on Rumble Premium yesterday. If you guys are not members, you can click right there. 2025 in the United States, drawing a parallel here, the worst areas as far as violent crime are entirely populated by minorities, usually black, sometimes Hispanic, and run by Democrats. In 2025, places like St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, black, blue cities. In 2025, make the case. Change my mind. How is that white people's fault? I will hear any qualified person who can make a legitimate case. Okay? That's an open challenge, and not to anyone who has what used to be a Twitter egg or now a generic X, but someone out there, this is what you do. You're a professor. Please, I'd like to hear a case made. Like school choice, never heard a valid one.
Their first argument will be, because I used to argue this in New York,
right?
Will be, I'd argue with the libs. Well, you think if slavery didn't happen, they wouldn't be further along?
Sure.
I go, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Right.
I go, figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they ask me to leave.
Yes, of course they do. But then if you leave, it's white flight.
I just don't happen to believe everybody's equal. But anyways, go ahead.
Not in behavior in this country, and of course that's obviously
what I mean.
Shaped
behavior
by policy.
And dancing.
Yeah,
I mean, they have the edge.
Superior in dancing.
They do,
the edge.
and vertical.
Hey,
let's be honest.
They entertain. I'll tell you.
By the way, last year the United States took in 20,000 refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
There you go.
And that was just, Madonna.
It's the largest refugee group in the United States. Does that count for any? Now we can't also take in some nice white guys?
I know. Isn't it amazing? It is amazing. Anything white related, they go crazy.
Yeah, the Episcopal Church said, we're not going to be a part of the refugee program anymore on account of the fact that you're helping whites who are being genocided. That's a bridge too far. Hey, how's Drag Queen Story Hour working out?
Brought in 50 people. It's not like we're talking. We didn't bring in 20,000 people like we did from the Congo. And by the way, the 15 poorest countries in the world, shocking, are all in Africa.
Yeah,
15.
Yeah. Well, that's
I thought at least like in the one bright spot, South Africa. It's the richest nation.
Right.
or in Africa.
Is Newark in South Africa?
No, but it
might as well be.
Sometimes. Listen, if you want to make that argument, we talked about this with socialism. Show me where it's worked. Show me where, if you're saying that these people are being, okay, fine. Show me where they've gotten it right then. Like, and I'm not saying that they can't get it right. I'm just saying that the tribalism that is on that continent is a way bigger problem than white people coming into the 1600s and actually putting farms and an economy in place so that you can actually have a prosperous country.
Yeah, I'm convinced, look, this is what these people are most mad about, okay? Since they are saying that all white people bad, I'm not saying all black people bad, but I am saying something that you will accuse me of, you'll accuse me of spouting racism here. Everyone has gone to war, okay? Africa today is still torn apart by warlords, okay? Still, to this day. That's the rule of law in many African countries, all right? And that includes black people. White people, as far as, post-Enlightenment era, sure, and the Western world, we're good at war for the same reasons, that you kind of make fun of, like, white people basketball. There's always a coach like, I don't want any hot shots, fundamentals, pass, right? That's what it's like. Same thing with war. Like white people came in to an area and they're like, "Hey, we'll have plans and we'll have specialists and we'll actually look at the topography and we'll have different brigades and with wherever it is going on in Congo, they just have they throw a bunch of 9-year-olds on meth. So it's like, put some kids on meth and see how many it takes. So it happens. They're better at war. I mean, you think Native Americans didn't war? They're still war. By the way, something else too, kind of important. More slaves on Earth right now than ever on planet Earth. Over 40 million. Where are most of those? By the way, trick question. They're coming from the same place where they were sold back then, in Africa, Middle East, and Asia. Just ask Nick about it. He's Sicilian. Ask him about the Moors. Right. Ask about the reasons they had to build up their cities.
Please don't. Not a big fan of the Moors.
It's a sore spot. If you've seen True Romance, you know what I'm talking about. You're still here on YouTube. Remember when we could say whatever we wanted on YouTube and people didn't have to censor out words like gay? See, even that, right? That's not even a swear word. Or the word sex. Even if you're just talking about it, you're not saying anything profane. That's why I live stream on Rumble 5 days a week. Go subscribe over there on Rumble, where you get the live show every single day. If you're still using this archaic form of delivery for information on YouTube, I don't want to judge, but your father hates you.